It's Show back with another video. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Wolves versus Manchester United game. It just happened earlier today. Post-match reaction, basically, some talking points, that type of thing. So yeah, we'll just start off to begin with. So you all aware of the result at this point? 1-0 to Man United. A late-ish Mason Greenwood goal. Bit scrappy. Nice little step over, coming inside the box to the right hand side, fired across with his weaker right foot across a goal, and then the goalkeeper made a bit of a hash of it, really. Didn't manage to parry that wide of the goal into his own net, so definitely an element of fortune there. And then obviously the talking point in terms of as a neutral for the game was the sort of VAR incident between Pogba and Neves, that sort of 50-50 challenge. Having looked back on it a few times now, I think he definitely caught his shin pad. It was a little bit high. I definitely could have seen it being given against Man United, but I think in certainly the remit going into the season, especially what we saw from the Euros as well, was that they're going to be more lenient, certainly, and allow more contact in the game. We saw Bruno when, if I remember, it was Stevens, wasn't it, I think, for Southampton, and he put in a challenge on Bruno Fernandes from behind. Definitely would have been given the previous season, no doubt, and that led to a goal against us. So I think it swings in roundabouts. We've had an element of fortune there, but at the same time, the team sort of dug in and managed to get the result. So 28 games away from home unbeaten now, which is a new Premier League record, and that can't be sniffed at. I think to continue that going into this season, if you can maintain that for as long as possible, as well as picking up more wins while you're away from home, certainly improving the home record, that can only hold you in good stead, and it shows a sort of like never say die attitude that's definitely within the team, regardless of the amount of critics that we do get in that regard. So largely positive because of that, but let's hit some of the talking points now. I'll begin immediately with some of the debuts. So first one, Rafael Varane. I thought he was terrific. I think there was only sort of one moment where he got beat in the air by Saiss, the Wolves centre back, and he that which led to the David De Gea double save. But other than that, he was dominant in the air as well, which was what was really impressive. His aerial presence, seemed to equal that of Harry Maguire, which is only going to be a positive. His height as well, both a similar height, so there's going to be real, a sort of kind of a less of a fear factor when it comes to free kicks, things like that. I think especially with the way De Gea is as a goalkeeper as well, he's not someone that likes to dominate his box. He doesn't like to come out and really sort of get in the action as much as maybe he should. That's certainly one of his criticisms, definitely throughout his career, especially in the decline seasons over the last 2 years. But if you have a dominant centre-back pairing that can win aerial duels like that, then it means that there's certainly less of an onus for him to come forward, which would put maybe less of the limelight on him in terms of that decision making, which if he can get a string of games now with any kind of real instance, any errors, and he's pulling off the saves as he did today, then we could see a renaissance period for David De Gea. He's only just hit his 30s, so there's still plenty of years left potentially on a contract like that, which is sizable and immovable. It's certainly in United's interest to sort of get the best out of him while you've got him and that type of thing. So Varane really showed that aerial dominance, and I thought he was decent on the ball, set up the goal, even though it was obviously one of those kind of like lazy assist statistics where he sort of just played a pass, but Mason Greenwood did do most of the work. But yeah, there was an assured authority about Varane. It shows his experience, and I think considering how frenetic the start was of the game, what I was really impressed with was a few times when Adama Traore did break through, he didn't try and beat Varane on the outside or anything like that. Probably recognised his pace. Varane did a really good job of jockeying him And I was really, really impressed by that. And I just think, with the lack of physicality that Lindelof brings, I think that could have proven a problem today, and another day with Lindelof and the team could have easily been a loss for Man United. That being said, there's pros and cons to both players. Like, I must admit, I think just from what I've watched of Varane as well, I do think Lindelof is the better passer out of the back, certainly in terms of long balls and things like that. Don't think he has a kind of Virgil van Dijk level passing range, but just the speed, the ability to cover the back four, especially when that Wan-Bissaka's gone forward or we've pushed higher up the pitch. I think that was all very, very promising, and it could be a sign of the great potential of this Man United side if they could sort out the problem in midfield, as simple as that. So we'll move on from Varane. If we move on to Jadon Sancho, that'll be another talking point. A bit of a mixed bag really for Jadon. I think early on he certainly didn't benefit from the lack of balance in our midfield, how Wolves hit the ground running, hit us on the counter-attack several times, got us going looking back the other way, put us under a lot of pressure. And I think a lot of the time where Jadon Sancho, certainly in the first half, was picking up the ball, he was facing the wrong way. He was facing our defence, having to sort of working his way out of tight areas and getting close to people that were going to put him under physical pressure. And I think another day where we can control the game, have more of a an ability to sort of certainly get into our attacking patterns of play more often in the game, then you'll see the best of Jadon Sancho. I very much believe he will come good for Man United. I mean, obviously he's so young that it means that he can certainly have a blooding in phase for the Premier League and that type of thing. Whereas if you contrast that to Mason Greenwood, he's had that blooding in period now, and it's really paying dividends. And he, with Rashford's injury as well, and Martial's certainly lack of confidence and the way he performed in the previous season, I really think Mason Greenwood sees himself as one of the kind of not a senior figure because of his age, but he owns that shirt, whether that's on the right hand side or in the striker position. I really feel like he does believe that he belongs now, and I don't think that could always have been said in previous seasons. So that's really, really promising. And I think that Jadon Sancho, even though he's the older player by a couple of years, could really learn from Mason Greenwood and how he's managed to adapt to playing for Manchester United at a top level. And I think Sancho, like I say, we need to get him possession, get him facing the right way, and I always say that his two best attributes are drawing players and then passing those acute balls. He's always looking for that. You could see in those in sort of moments in that game. I really do think that he loves tight spaces in the attacking sort of final third against low blocks. He's going to prove like a winner for Manchester United in some games. So difficult test away from home at Molineux, and the way Wolves played, they definitely deserved at least a point out of that game. And so Sancho, definitely a mixed bag, couldn't really influence the game, and was probably rightfully subbed at about 70 minutes. Then if we continue on, Greenwood, just to sum up, I've described him a bit there, but golden boy, star boy, probably my favourite player at Man United at the moment. What I love about him, has that sort of Marek Hamsik ability to use both feet. Could probably take both free kicks with both feet, taking corners now for Man United. I just really think he's grown as a player. What he's been through with England, with that incident with Phil Foden as well, being left out of the England squad again now. I just really think there's a maturity there and a real understanding of what his game is at Man United. And like I say, long term, I see him as the kind of heir apparent to a Ron van Persie. Better off the weaker foot, probably slightly weaker aerially, but certainly the technique, the grace, and the ability to just finish with aplomb more often than not. But I just think he's going to be an absolute superstar, and it's only a matter of time. And with the signing of Ronaldo, I think he's come along really, really well with Edison Cavani being at the club. But with Ronaldo being there and such an icon at Manchester United, what he could show Mason Greenwood, it's only going to be a positive and should hopefully only accelerate the process to superstardom for Mason. So very, very positive performance from him. Then in regards to everyone else, I think I don't want to get drawn back into this because I did discuss this in the last video about the CDM, but it's painful. It's really getting painful now. I think if we don't address that position, there are going to be games where we don't pull the rabbit out of the hat, the cat out of the bag, that type of thing. It was a lucky win. VAR could have gone against us in that game. De Gea's double save, and we need to address that position. Like I said in the last video, Sal Niguez on a loan option to buy while there's an opportunity there, or Camavinga, knowing that he's only got 1 year left in his contract before the window. If we don't do that, then I don't think we're going to challenge for the title. I really don't think we're going to go that far in the Champions League, and we'll probably come short again in another final. So it would be a case of a bit of deja vu until that position's addressed, because we've seen that unless we address it, it's got to be McFred. The only way we balance our midfield is with McFred in midfield, Scott McTominay and Fred. Without it, as you can see with Pogba deeper there with Fred, is he doesn't want to do the defensive work. Fred, it has really kind of fallen off for the last 6 months. He had a period where I thought he did really well in that position, and like I say, I still think he's laughably still the most recognised player in that position with Matic's decline in age. So it's really a worrying position now. With Fred's form, I imagine that they'll will just replace him with McTominay when he becomes fit, and hopefully, like I say, I prefer him as a box to box. But if he can just take the responsibility there and show his character, then hopefully that'll be an improvement on what Fred's delivering at the moment. But he was just getting bullied by Traore. I mean, Traore can do that. He physically dominated Wan-Bissaka several times as well. I thought it was only when he switched inexplicably to the left-hand side with Luke Shaw. Well, Shaw is obviously he's a physical specimen as well, not as strong as Adama Traore, but really doesn't get knocked around as much. Can't create that half a yard from the little bump that he got from Fred and Wan-Bissaka several times. That's a position that seriously needs addressing in defensive midfield. Otherwise, it's going to be another season of just I guess mediocrity in terms of the amount of money it was spent and the expectation that's on the club. So I won't cover that too much. And then lastly, just to give some flowers to David De Gea. I think he has had rightfully he's had his criticisms over the last couple of years. Sort of basic saves where he's made errors, like against Barcelona when I think it was the quarter final, I believe, and when we beat PSG, really late on, and we played Barcelona and we got battered, and he made that one where he just fumbled it through. There was other ones where like handling issues, the one with Mason Mount in the FA Cup semi-final. There have been a few where it's just like a lack of concentration, that type of thing. Nothing to do with his ability. It just seems to have just been switched off for lack of focus. And I think maybe staying at a club for so long, really sort of no rivalry for his shirt for so long, maybe that's had that effect on him. I certainly think he's now going to be his teammate, but Ronaldo's really when the dip in form I think began was the end of the 2018 World Cup, really, when he fumbled that Ronaldo shot. So I think he seems to accepted his positioning with the national team, that type of thing. Probably not more relaxed about whether he's like considered the number one in the world or anything like that. When sort of in his prime years, it was really a battle with Manuel Neuer, and I think he didn't have a bad season last year, and it was soured by the penalty shootout in the Europa League final. And I think some United fans who maybe in the Henderson camp, they sort of just use that to tarnish the rest of his performances in the season. If you remember the Roma performance prior to that in the Europa League campaign, he was absolutely outstanding. So I think there's been a progression in the right direction for David De Gea, and if you're on 350 grand a week, he's the second highest paid player at the club now, behind Cristiano Ronaldo. There's a pressure and expectation for you to perform, and I think he's definitely fallen short of that mark. But we as a club and as a fan base, we would I think he deserves certainly a period of time for us to forgive him for some of these errors, especially the way he saved us over numerous seasons. A 4-time Player of the Year for Manchester United. Also, I believe it was a 5-time Premier League Team of the Year 4 times in a row. I think it was 5 and 6 seasons. So that's an absolute madness. I mean, people don't realise that, and I think a lot of the blame on David De Gea as well has come around. Think about the social media age, that type of thing. I've seen, Schmeichel, Van der Sar, they have made errors as well. But with social media, it's for everyone to see all the time. 24 hours, and so really that's certainly been on the forefront of a lot of people's sort of short-term biases of what David De Gea is. But yeah, like I say, rightly criticised, but hopefully this is a sign of things to come for him, because that was an excellent double save and kept us in the game, and that was what he was doing when when we were just basically battling it out to just kind of scrape top 4. But now with the players that we've got, if we can dress the CDM position, if he's pulling off those odd saves in key crucial moments of games throughout the season, that's the difference between a league title or a trophy win. So long may that continue. And like I say, we don't wish bad on these players. We just, they hope they turn good. Otherwise, the nature of being a Manchester United player is you get criticism, and sometimes you do deserve it. So yeah, on the whole, like I said, not really deserved win, but we take it. We roll on to next game, international break now, and then it's Newcastle we've got coming up. So fully expect us to take maximum points there. But yeah, until we address that CDM position, it's got to be a long, hard season, I believe. Okay, so yeah, hope you enjoyed that, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, your weekends, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.